I was just listening to some classical music, and oh man, I really want to play. I really do. So, anyway, I have not played anything today, and I just wanted to bring you along on this journey. So, if you're happy to be here, say hi, and I'll see what I can do with these cold, cold fingers. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of Kosman to get the fingers a bit warmed up. Like I said, this is a completely uninsulated brick and steel structure, and I'm on the corner of it, so I get wind from two sides. Thankfully, I have a heater. Oh, my goodness. Okay, just a little Kosman. Oh, yeah. Hmm. It's cold and I don't really want to take this off, but my elbow is quite restricted here. stayed in tune. Barely in tune. All right. Oh my goodness, very cold. My fingers don't want to move. My hands have been cold for so long this morning. Whew. Clunky, very clunky. Okay, well, I'm moving on to scales because my fingers don't seem to want to warm up doing that. A major. Fingers are still working okay. now for the arpeggios. All the triads. Okay, my fingers are starting to warm up slightly, but kind of feels harsh on the fingers right now. I had a blue cloth at one point. I don't know what I did with it. It's exactly the same thing, so blue, purple, doesn't matter. Okay, now it's time in my warm-up to move on to, I did Kostman and scales, kind of a Galamian system, to some etudes. Play something cool. Hi. Sorry if I just saw your message. Play something cool. A cool song. Well, when you say something like that, I don't know if you will think it's cool. This, I mean, for me, this is one of the coolest songs. Well, here's something that you will. Well, thanks for all the clapping and the nice. I appreciate that. I mean, that's one of the coolest songs I think that's ever been written for cello. But if you're thinking more like pop music, I was just teaching. Somebody asked me to teach them. Uh, Shoot, what was it called? Nothing else matters. I don't know if I can remember how to play it. It starts like. I mean, I'm not getting exactly the melody, but it starts something like that. But if you're thinking like cool in that regard, I mean, I think that's kind of a nice melody myself. But another cool song for that was written expressly for cello. Cool. I don't know if it's cool. It's really pretty. But The Swan by Cessance. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh man, it is hard to play really, really well. I actually went through a period where I mean, I'm just kind of coming out of it, to be honest, where I just kind of lost everything that I had built up to. But I always kind of had a, not kind of, I really had an inferiority complex my entire time playing cello. And now I'm just kind of like, okay, I don't really care anymore. I just really want to play. That's all I want to do. I haven't played concerts for ages and ages, years and years, really. And I just want to play. Yeah, you just have to keep at it no matter what and do it a lot every day. Calming, that's for sure. You know what's funny? Speaking of calming, I just downloaded the Apple Classical app. I didn't even know they had it until today. Today was the first time I ever saw it. And they have a playlist called Chill Classical. Anyway, made me think of it. Okay. Th- yes. That then definitely you will not play quite as well as you might hope. There's no two ways around that, generally speaking. Yeah, the classical app is quite nice. I like it. I really like it. I think it's I've been waiting for it for a long, 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 long time. Um well, if you want to stick around and listen, I'm still gonna play some etudes. My fingers are still like ice. It's just really cold in here. These buildings where I live in Asia have no they have there is no insulation whatsoever. It is bereft of insulation and it is just cold. Even though it's like the lower 50s most of the time in the wintertime, it still feels really cold. Anyway, this comes from a really old set of collection of etudes called 170 Foundation Studies. It was assembled or collected by Alwyn Schroeder, who is actually the brother of a rather well-known um, cellist and teacher, Carl Schroeder. So this is an etude from Carl Schroeder, number 28 in volume 1. Oh, before I begin, I actually need to put some more rosin on my bow. It's kind of it's just sliding across the string, really. Little something about the rosin I'm using. This is Tomastic Infeld rosin, and it's a medium hardness. This rosin was the first rosin I remember a brand name for, ever. So, I don't know, we're talking probably my first full-size cello. I think I got it with my first full-size cello. That's what I remember. Oh, okay. Well, I'll hurry it up and play the next song. I appreciate you sticking around and giving me so many nice comments and oh shucks. This is a result from dropping my rosin on the floor last time I rosined my bow. So now I have a big old chunk out of it. Oh well, that's the way it goes. Hard floors. Schroeder Etude. This is number 28 from 170 Foundation Studies, Volume 1. Short and sweet. How do I remember that name? Which name are you talking about? You mean the rosin that I first used like I don't know 30 years ago or something? I don't know honestly if that's what you're talking about. I honestly don't know how I remember. My dad often says that I have this really interesting or uncanny. Oh, the one that I just played. Well, I'm just using a. I'm just playing from a book. These are all in public domain. In fact, this publication is in public domain right here. They just reprinted it back when I was like, yeah. And this is what the song looks like. Honestly, I couldn't play any of these by memory 100% through. I've played them hundreds of times though, all of these. So I'm going to go on and do another one. This is a legato exercise, also by Dozauer, another big cello etude composer. Yeah. I mean it is hard for beginners, absolutely. And to play it really cleanly and well, that is definitely hard. Playing it anything well is hard. Here's an etude by Dozauer. Well, that's why I practice right there. Because that's hard to play this really well. And not make that sound like it's being punched out. Okay, well, that's enough of the etude. I'm going to go on to the probably what most people consider the main topic. The main topic being La Cinquantaine, or Air in the Olden Style by G. Marie. Really need anti-dust spray for the glasses. So I've got a couple of students that are learning this, and in general, hey, thanks a lot for sticking around. I really appreciate that. Have a really great night or day wherever you are. It happens to be day for me. Thanks a lot. See you next time. So the reason I did this, oh, I don't have translation on Malditos. I don't know what that means, but hello, Ronald Franco. The reason that I'm doing the La Cinquantaine right now is I have several students that are pero I don't know pero I don't know if that means for in English or if it's the like an animal? Seems like. I don't know. Are you speaking Spanish? Well, oh man, I don't know. And I'm right now. My phone is occupied with streaming, so I can't even look it up. Sorry about that. and my and my I should have taken that off. That's funny. I need to focus here. So those don't come up. I don't. If you could get a translation into English to put it here. Otherwise, I speak German, and I also speak Chinese, at least a little bit. My German is pretty good. Pero sapo. Yeah, if you could get a translation into English or German or Chinese, I could do it. I only speak 3 languages. And Spanish, what looks to me is to be Spanish. I don't speak, unfortunately. Well, maybe if you could get that in English, that you could do that. And until then, I'll just say a little bit about the air in the olden style. I'm using the Suzuki Volume 3 right now. I have found this in many collections that are all in the public domain from 120 years ago or so. And this music is interesting to me because although there's shifting in the Suzuki numbers preceding number 9, La Cinquantaine, or La Cinquantaine, maybe, air in the olden style, this one seems to have a lot more activity, lots more up and down the fingerboard, let's say. Up the fingerboard and down the fingerboard. And in case you are still thinking I've lost my marbles, up this way because we're going higher in pitch. Sorry, just a minute. Well, you can take a break. Huh? Here you go. Can you plug it in? All right. The up and down, right? Because we're up thinking of pitch and down thinking of pitch. I did a video on this that seemed to be fairly popular, especially the short. I've noticed that shorts, anything under 30 seconds is a whole lot more palatable to a lot more people. Or at least they find it better. Maybe that's the reason. Anyway, the shifting here is always an interesting, like, how do you pick this kind of stuff up? Pick it out of thin air, as it were. Well, I just wanted to say a little bit more that I don't think I talked about too awful much in the video. And that is, you're not picking notes out of thin air because really you've practiced, or should have practiced up to this point, what you're doing. And when I'm teaching my students, I don't always get it right because you get sidetracked and the students are oftentimes not willing, or they get sidetracked too with a whole bunch of other things, like their tone isn't great and their intonation is off, and um, they have really funky posture, like wonky, whatever the case may be. But you have to practice knowing where every note is. And when you're shifting in number 9 Suzuki 3 air in the olden style, like, it's not that we're shifting and that we just pick it out of thin air. It's that we actually know how far to go, right? I mean, anybody that is watching this is likely interested in cello, or dabbles in cello at least a little bit, from my experience chatting with you people, you guys here. But for those that are still kind of struggling with finding that octave shift, the first 3 notes, E on the D string, open A, and then E, third finger in third position on the A string. I would strongly suggest that you find out where these notes lie in relation to one another. Wherever they overlap, that is a golden opportunity. Just like having this open string, time to shift, that is a golden opportunity. If you have to shift far away where notes are not overlapping, or fingers are not overlapping notes, in this case, right? We're not playing this note. That's not the point. We're not playing it. The point is that the finger is in that position. So, look at this. This is the note we need right here, right? So as long as you are aware of these little things, they can greatly help out. Why is my funny? Huh. Constantly learning new things. Interesting. Well, I'm trying out something brand new today. I've never done this. I'm mirroring my screen on my computer, so I can easily use my back camera, which is far better for quality than the front camera, and I can still see your messages very easily. This is quite nice. Okay, so that was the opening of Air in the Olden Style from Suzuki Book 3, number 9. Right? Now, one other exercise you can do for making sure you really know your positions really well is this shifting on one finger. And this is something that I don't think Suzuki does until, I think it's book 6, 5 or 6. I could be wrong on that, but I haven't done it for a really long time with any student. A violin, what is it called? Set of exercises, scales by Gaylord Yost for violin. That's where I picked it up, and thanks to the violin teacher whose class I took back in college. It was a technique class. Made me transcribe it real time, because she just handed it out and I had to transcribe it, which I was already good at from playing hymns in church and everything. I wanted to play melody, so obviously if you play from the hymnal, you have to transcribe down an octave. Anyway, pick a scale that you already know really, really well. In this case, we're doing A minor, so I just chose A minor right off the bat. And use your first finger. C natural, right? D natural, F natural, G natural. But I remember distinctly, I distinctly remember when I was practicing this one finger scale, after several weeks, it improved my awareness of the positions. But not only the positions, it improved the just knowing which note I was playing. It wasn't shooting an arrow into the dark and hoping it hit my target. You know, no matter how big the target is, if you're shooting in pitch blackness, you'll probably miss it unless you're standing 1 inch away from the target. So here, that knowing exactly where the note is for my first finger, because let's face it, position is highly correlated to your first finger. Okay, I, I don't think anybody can dispute that. If you're using the traditional positions, the demarcations for first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh position, you're going to use your first finger as that mark. And that's the way methods have done it for 200 years plus. And so being intimately aware of the note your first finger is at least touching, may not be playing it, but at least touching in any given position, already gives you like not just 1 up, but I would say probably 5 up on being able to play in tune right away, or at least adjusting it. You know, it's not going to be a cure overnight. For example, I practiced those Yost 1 finger scales. Just the first finger, I practiced that I don't know how many weeks. And then I would come back to it every month, every other week or so. And in between, you know, I'd be practicing 2 finger scales, 3 finger scales, 4 finger scales, all sorts of combinations. The more craziness you become familiar with on the instrument with relation to fingerings for scales, the easier it is to pick something out in a real piece. Because let's also face it, real pieces seldom follow the finger patterns you practiced in your scales. I mean, because otherwise it just sounds like a scale. There's probably a couple of examples I could find where they do. I mean, Beethoven Violin Concerto, for example. Maybe occasionally in Haydn, C major, a little bit in D major, but there's so much variation in fingering. So back to the beginning of La Cinquantaine, the air in the olden style. I know where my positions are, right? Does that match? They match. And once they ring in a matching manner, you know that you got the position. Now, in another video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how fingers can help keep our finger posture, finger position. So many students, and there's probably a very few handful that keep their fingers down, but fingers fly up all over the place when, you know, you can tell that the students are really focused on getting the notes and they're just not trained to keep their fingers down, so it has to be worked on. But these fingers fly up, and then you have to find the note again every time you want to play the first finger. For example, I'll play the fourth note, fourth finger, and then, oh, where's that B? You know, versus having everything down and really organized. Okay, now let's go to a different shift. This is an extension. You have to think of it as an extension because of the key we're in, even though we don't use the note. This is down in the middle of the first page, still in the A minor section of Air in the Olden Style by G. Marie. And let's see, I think it is measure 25. Now, I chose this passage to correlate to the first one because the high note is the same. And the position we're starting from is the same. It's the only thing that's different is the position we're going to. At the beginning, we went to third position. Now we're going in measure 25 to second position. If you've already practiced those one finger scales, you know, the A minor scale in this case, you already are highly in tune with what your finger is going to do, like where your note is going to be. Right? In A minor, it wouldn't be that. Now, it could be argued that go ahead and play it in this higher position because you're not using C or C sharp, so if it's more comfortable for the shift and you're better at hitting it in tune, probably just do that. But as a way of making it an exercise, you could do this extension. Right? That one finger scale, I'm telling you, it just revolutionized my thinking about how to organize my shifts. It really did. And I don't think that very many of us are going to be too awful different from the way it revolutionized my shifting, my thinking of positions. If nothing else, now you have a really cool skill of being able to go up and down your scales with one finger, and everybody's going to be like, whoa, can you do, I didn't even know you could do that. Right? Woo, I have to practice it again to go that fast, but here's it slowly. Glissando for you. Right. All of these shifts get much easier over time with all of the little practices that you do for becoming very familiar with which note you're playing, which note is under any given finger. It just helps an enormous amount. Yeah. Now I'm going to play Air in the Olden Style, just the first page, so you can get everything in context. All right, I don't know if you caught it. At measure 25, I was talking about how you could think of it as an extension shift, even though we're not playing that C natural. But look at this, measure 29. There is the application of the extension in second position. We actually do need to play the C natural in this case. All right, I also highly recommend, if you want more practice and just more organized thinking in position, I really, really recommend, and I don't have any sponsorship at all, but I just love it. It's the Position Pieces by Rick Mooney. Uh, Volume 1. It's the red cover. I think it's right here. Yeah, it's this one right here. It doesn't say Volume 1, but it doesn't say Volume 2 either, so you know you've got Volume 1. It just corresponds to Suzuki Book 1, Suzuki Volume 2 and Volume 3 very closely, and I think you will benefit. No, I know you will benefit greatly. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. I'm terribly sorry that I don't speak. Well, I don't know. There's nothing to be sorry for, but um, it's too bad that I couldn't understand and use my translator for this, but I guess that's how it goes sometimes. I do hope you will stop by, and until next time, thanks.